Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to make a very gorgeous full circle skirt. I'll be using an African print of 1.5 meters. My lining is 1.35 meters plus my zipper. But before we do that, I want to show you some things on this pattern which we are going to use for this skirt. We're going to make a waist fold which will be attached to the lining because I'm not going to use a waistband for this skirt, so I set this aside. Now, what we do on this pattern, we're going to measure 5 centimeters below the waistline. So you make your points here. You make a point of 5 centimeters. You make another point here, 5 centimeters. You just take it around the waistline. You know, this skirt is going to have the zipper by the side of the skirt. So I will also show you how to do that. So you make a point here, 5 centimeters point. Then you highlight it very well. You continue. This waist fold is going to stay on the pattern until after cutting out. You cut it from here after cutting out your skirt. Now you use this for the waist fold. You see how it looks? Just leave it on the pattern. I'm going to paste it on my material. I've placed it on the material. You can see my waist fold is still on the pattern. Okay, so we're going to cut. Now on the sides of the skirt, because our zipper is going to be by the side, so we're going to cut here with 2 centimeters sewing allowance. You cut the two sides with 2 centimeters sewing allowance. So from here, after cutting this side, you will also cut the other side of the skirt with 2 centimeters sewing allowance. But on the waistline, we will cut it with 1 centimeter sewing allowance. On the seam lines with 1 centimeter sewing allowance. Now look at the waist fold. I'm cutting the waist fold out. So this is for the waist fold. We're going to use it to do the finishing on our waistline. So this is the waist fold. I will cut it on the same material, on the same African print material. Then this is for the lining. Now I have pasted it here. So here we're going to cut on this side with 2 centimeters for the zipper allowance. You cut here 2 centimeters. Then around the connection on the lining is 1 centimeter. The waist fold on the waist side is 1 centimeter, so 1 centimeter sewing allowance. Now on the lining, here, because our lining is not supposed to be the same length like our skirt, so we're going to reduce 2 centimeters. Reduce it with 2 centimeters. On this, you cut it round. You reduce 2 centimeters sewing allowance. You do that round. Then on the sides, you cut 2 centimeters for the zipper. Then on the connection here, you cut it with 1 centimeter. Now I want to show you how it looks. Here, you see, I reduced 2 centimeters from my pattern. You don't need to cut that on your pattern. You can do that while you're cutting the lining. So you can see 2 centimeters is reduced here. So this is enough for us because we don't want our lining to be showing under the skirt. If you don't do this, your lining will be longer than the skirt or it will be showing under your skirt. So now for the waist fold, here you see I cut it with 2 centimeters, but you can decide to put your interfacing in between here. You can put your interfacing here Now I have folded my skirt. I put the good sides are facing each other. On this side, I have already overlocked and pinned it. I'm going to sew here with 2 cm sewing allowance. Then on this side, I'll be sewing it also with 2 cm sewing allowance, but my zipper is going to be on this side. I want it to be on the left hand side. So now I have a video I made on my channel on how to fix your zipper on the side of your skirt. So I will leave the link below. You can watch it and do your own the same way. I'm not going to show how to fix. I've done it. I'm not going to show how I fixed it. I have the video already. So I decided to change the zipper because I found out that that zipper is longer than what I wanted. So I'm using a shorter zipper of 18 centimeters. You can see how it looks. Yeah, very, very beautiful. Now this is the waist fold and my lining. So here I'm going to connect the middle points first. You connect the two together. You pin. You just pin them round. You follow it. Make sure you pin everything inside. I have done, you see, you pin them well. I have done this pinning here. I want to show you how it looks. I've done the pinning here, as you can see. So you make sure as you're pinning, you pin everything inside. I'm going to stitch 1 centimeter. I'll come back and show you. I'm done with the stitching. Now this is it. So after stitching, because here is round, so you put your notch around it. You do the same on the second one. Make sure you don't cut on your stitches. After putting your notch, you iron it very well. You can see how it looks. Iron it very well. I'm done with the ironing. So now I want to show how you can connect your lining to your skirt. You first of all measure the length of your skirt, of your zipper. Then you measure the same on your lining. But before you do that, you make sure you do this on the side where you have your zipper on the skirt. So now you check the side where you have your zipper. Here is the side I'm going to put my I'm going to attach my lining to the zipper. So you measure the same length of your zipper here. This is the length of my zipper. Then from this point, I'll put a pin there. You can put a pin or you make a mark. You can see when I sew it, it will be open this way. So you stitch from there down with the sewing centimeters you cut out. On this side, where there is no zipper, you stitch everything close. I'm going to stitch 2 centimeters down. I'll come back and show you. I'm done with the stitching. I've also ironed it very well. You can see my zipper space is open here. So I will take my skirt, then I'll open the zipper. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to wear them together. You take your lining, you just wear them on. You turn the good sides to face each other. Then you put it like this. Just follow what I'm doing. Okay, now you see, you take them together. I found out that my zipper space is wide. It's wider, or my lining is wider than the zipper space on my sewing allowance, so I decided to leave it like that. I don't want to cut it off to avoid overlocking it, so I just left it like that since it's not going to be a problem. So you pin the middle points together. You continue pinning. Please, if you're just coming in for the first time, please, I urge and I beg you to subscribe to my channel. Please support me with your subscriptions. Thank you very much. And if you have already subscribed, thank you very, very much. Thank you for showing so much love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So you continue pinning. You pin them. Okay, now avoid the zip head as you're sewing on your machine. Pin the middle points together. Now you pin here as well. So I'm going to go to the machine. You see how it looks? We're going to stitch 1 centimeter round. You stitch. Okay, you keep stitching. When you get to the zipper head, you really have to be very careful here. You stitch. You double stitch at the end. I'm done with the stitching, you can see. So now we're going to stitch on the zip line. Here, you make sure you stitch on the same line that you have stitched before. You stitch, because this is very easy to do. You see, you just close it this way. Mine is longer or wider, but it's not a problem. So you keep stitching. You stitch on the same line where you stitched before. You double stitch. Continue stitching. Please do subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for subscribing. Now, we are done with the stitching here. So when you finish stitching, you just turn it over. You can see how it looks. Your zipper should look this way when you connect it to the lining. See how it looks? So now I'm going to, you see, I'm going to do the second one. I'll show you. I'm done with the stitching. I'm trying to bring my pin out. You see the excess material is still inside. It's not a problem. So I'm done with the stitching of the two sides. Very neat. Now I'm going to open it, or turn it inside out. You know, it's a big skirt, so you have to be patient when you're doing this. You can see how it looks. Now the next thing we're going to do is to iron it. We iron it very flat. Iron it very flat. Make sure you iron everything very well. Then after ironing, you open it up. You know, here in the middle, you can see the stitch lines here. So what we're going to do, we're going to stitch on this line again. We'll stitch it towards the lining. On this place, you stitch towards the lining. I'm done with the stitching. Then I'm ironing the skirt. Iron it very well. Make sure that everything is ironed flat. So after ironing, you see the stitches, you can see the stitches. It's looking very neat, and now the waist is very flat. You know, when you finish stitching on the waistline, you make sure you stitch on the lines again. You stitch the way I did mine. You see how flat it is. So we are going to stitch on the zipper. I will show you how to do that. Now you take your zipper this way. You see, you stitch here on this side. It depends on how wide you want your stitch lines to be. So for me, I'm using 1 centimeter. I'm using my machine to be like a guide for me to stitch here. Continue. Then when you get to the zipper head, you turn it to the end, you turn it this way, you stitch front, you stitch back. You can do this 2 to 3 times, depends on how you want to close it. Now you continue stitching. Now you raise your foot up, you pull your zipper to the back. You continue. When you get to the end here, you stitch it, you double stitch, stitch to the front, you stitch to the back. You close your stitches very well. Now I'm done with the stitching on the zipper. Okay, after stitching, now you cross check if your zipper is okay, if it can open well or not. Now mine is good, so I'm going to fix it this way. You arrange everything. Then the next thing we're going to do is to stitch on the seam lines. I'm done with the stitching. You can see the zipper how it is. Everything is well fixed. I have stitched everything, top stitched on my lining, top stitched on the waistline. You can see how it looks. It's very beautiful. Everything is well fixed. I've also done the seam lines, the lining seam lines, the skirt seam lines. I have done everything. I've also ironed it. This skirt is very beautiful. It's very full. So if you want to make this pattern, I will leave the link below. I have already made a pattern on my channel. I will leave the link below this video so that you can be able to see how to develop your own full circle skirt pattern. It's very beautiful. It's very full. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe to my channel. Thank you for being there. I appreciate it. Do like, support me with your subscriptions. Share this video to people that would like to know how to do this. Thank you. Bye.